Shamima Begum. She's back in the news for a number of reasons, and we're going to be talking about her and what the recent developments of her situation are. So let's crack right on with it, shall we? So just one thing before we get started, guys. I just want to remind you all that there's many ways you can help support this channel. The usual stuff like liking and sharing. But if you want, you can also help financially. And there are a number of ways you can do it via PayPal, Subsribestar, Patreon, Bitcoin, or even heading over to Teespring.com. As always, those links are in the description, and all donations are extremely grateful, and of course they go to help, funding the channel and buying equipment and going to events and whatnot. But as always, guys, let's crack on with this new video. So we all know who Shamima Begum is. She is a young girl from the Bethnal Green when she was about 14 or 15, I can't remember now, who ran away to join ISIS with two other young girls. I believe one of them is dead and the third one is unknown. And of course, she was picked up by the Times in a Syrian refugee camp, and they did the whole story. I did a previous video about her situation at the time, which you should see here on screen, and you can go watch that as well if you want. But it has also come out that she was a enforcer of Sharia law within the Islamic State. According to this Telegraph article, Shamima Begum was a cruel enforcer in ISIS morality police, says Syrian witnesses. And according to the Telegraph, she was also trying to recruit other young girls to join the jihadi group, a well-placed source has told the Telegraph. She was also allowed to carry a Kalashnikov rifle and earned the respect as a strict enforcer of ISIS law, such as dress code for women, sources have claimed. The claims are at odds with Mrs. Begum's own accounts of her 4 years with the group, which she joined at the age of 15. Miss Begum, who is now 19, has insisted she was never involved with ISIS brutality, but spent her time in Syria as a devout housewife to a jihadi fighter. Miss Begum, who discovered in a refugee camp in northern Syria in February, sparked a public outcry. Of course, she was also a mother and lost all 3 of her children. The most recent one after the initial article was done about her in February. Apparently also her husband, a Dutch fighter, offered a similar story saying that Miss Begum sat at home and that she would pose no danger to the British public if allowed back. But the Telegraph has been able to piece together a different account of Miss Begum's life inside the world's most brutal terrorist organisation. And as we know, she has been stripped of her British citizenship, and according to the Daily Mail, she is, trying to get legal aid from our lawyers trying to get legal aid to fight the case of her citizenship being stripped, which could cost the UK taxpayer £24 million. Just let that sink in for a minute. £24 million is what could cost the British taxpayer just to fund her court case and everything else to get her citizenship back. And that's even if she's successful. Now, according to the Telegraph, they have 2 different sources within Syria that paint a picture of Miss Begum and what she's been up to as a paid enforcer within the ISIS terrorist group. Now, my view on this whole thing, as you guys will remember, is that she shouldn't have had her citizenship stripped. She should have been brought back, allowed to return, so then that way she could be put on trial. Now, if the Telegraph have been able to get sources and some form of evidence to back up these claims, surely an actual British authorities' investigation by the police or the security service would also be able to get this information, if not more information and more evidence to prove that of her involvement within ISIS. Because I'm a strong believer that this British-born girl, because that's what she was British-born. I mean, there was rumours that she had other citizenships in Bangladesh, but they have been dismissed, and that she's not dual citizen, she's just a British citizen, that she should be allowed to return home, and the moment she returns back to British sovereign territory, she should be arrested and put on trial for her crimes. And clearly, if the Telegraph are able to demonstrate that she had some involvement with IS, then surely the British authorities, the Secret Service, the police even, would also be able to get this evidence together and, of course, put her on trial for what she has done out there. And also, there needs to be a change in the law. I mean, if you're going off and fighting for a terrorist organization, or you're just joining a terrorist organization to be a housewife, you're joining the enemy. I'm sure there are military laws for joining the enemy, especially during a time of war. And last time I checked, British government was at war. Last time I remember, we were doing a war on terrorism. So surely something under the, joining the enemy sort of laws would cover this. But if not, then there should be laws passed where people like this who join up and sign up should face prosecution for this. I mean, the Telegraph also stated that she was able to receive military training as well. So she's definitely been trained by them. She's been involved in being an enforcer for IS and had training by them. Surely they, the British government could get evidence and demonstrate in a court of law that she is a terrorist, basically, and she joined the enemy. We know this. And maybe we wouldn't have this article by the Daily Mail saying it's going to cost £24 million for her lawyer to fight the case of her citizenship being revoked. Unfortunately, I feel what the British government did by just revoking her citizenship it was like a band-aid on the outrage that there was after the Times article. The article came out saying that she wanted to return. There was a lot of outcry from the general public about it, and the British government just yanked her citizenship as sort of like a temporary fix to it all. And I feel that was not the correct action to take. They should have got her back here to Britain, and she should be put on trial for it. Simple as that. Because it's better than us forking out 24 million in legal aid costs for her to be able to win it and then get her citizenship back and come back freely. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, she joined the enemy at the end of the day. We know that. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And surely if the Telegraph can demonstrate that she was up to stuff over there, then surely the British government would be able to get actual evidence and bring witnesses to court and put her on trial for this, basically. Instead, this is going to sort of go on and on for a while. Her lawyer's going to argue the case of getting the money, and then there'll be the trial and pre-hearings and various other things for him to get her citizenship returned to her, and then she'll be allowed to return, and the British government will probably go down the line of, we tried to stop her from returning, but it's out of our hands, high court rulings and blah blah blah, which in my opinion, it's just a way of them sort of skirting it under the carpet and pushing it down the road to a later date, so people forget about it. But the British public are not going to forget about it. And what she did. She betrayed this country. She joined a terrorist organisation. She joined the enemy. And well, from what the Telegraph is saying, their two sources are painting a completely different picture to what she says she got up to over there. They're saying, she received military training and that she was a paid enforcer carrying around an AK. I'm sure the British government would be able to prove that. But instead, it looks like she could be getting a nice big fat legal aid payment to a lawyer who can then fight this whole revoking of her citizenship, and it's just going to cost the British public more and more money. She should have just been allowed to return home. The moment she got back here, boom, arrest her and put her on trial. I mean, they would have done a preliminary hearing and the judge would have gone, you're a risk to the general public, so we're going to remand you into custody until the trial. So what risk would she have been in? I mean, yes, there's the conversation of, radical Muslims in our prison system. We know this. Who they radicalise more people in the prison system, which is a different topic, but that also needs to be solved and dealt with. How do we stop these people radicalising each other? Well, for one, I guess what we could do is what we did back in the day with the IRA. We kept the loyalists and the Republicans separate from one another, We didn't put them all together in the same prisons. So why are we not doing that with these kinds of people that, terrorists that have gone off and fought against us in foreign lands, or even who have done things here in Britain. We shouldn't be putting them into general population of the prison system. They should be segregated, and not because of their religion or their gender, but segregated because of the types of crimes that they have done. I mean, these are the most barbaric crimes going. I do think that we should definitely be putting these people on trial and showing that we will not be soft on them. Because in my opinion, just leaving her out there is being soft and letting these people get away with it. Because in my opinion, what the British government has done is gone, yeah, you can run off and do what you want and join the enemy and join the terrorist organisations, but you just won't be allowed to return. Well, that's not punishment, is it? Then it's letting them get away scot-free. We should show to the rest of society that it doesn't matter where you hide on this planet. British government will find you, we will come for you, and we will prosecute you for your crimes. And not forgetting it would save us 24 million. I'm sure this is going to be going on for quite some time still to come. There'll be developments over if her lawyer wins on the whole getting the legal aid fund, and then there'll be that whole trial and procedure where we find out if she even does get her citizenship back. But then what's going to happen? Let's say she does. They manage to win the case and she's returned her citizenship. Well, as it stands at the moment, she'll just be allowed to return to Britain, end of discussion, which I think, no. Well, yeah, she should be allowed to return, but when she gets here, she should be put on fucking trial for what she has done. She joined the enemy, a terrorist organisation, and according to, like I said, the Telegraph, it seems like she wasn't just a housewife. It looks like she was involved in, Sharia law enforcement and received military training by them. So damn right she should be put on trial for that. Obviously, I'm going to wait a while before I do another update video on this situation with this girl, see what happens. But we do need to see some changes in the law. If the laws aren't adequate to prosecute people like this who join our enemy, the people we are at war with, then we need laws to say, oh, you've joined the enemy? Well then no, you will be put on trial, we will come for you. Simple as that. I don't understand why we just decided to revoke her citizenship and leave her there. To me, I think that's just being soft on these people. Completely soft. We need to take a firm stance against these people. We need to go out there, we need to capture them, bring them back, and put them on trial. And we're talking about the security services and the police. They have the resources to determine and the knowledge to determine that if she's done anything and what it is she has done. In my opinion, it wouldn't be difficult for them.
So, the foreign minister for Bangladesh has come out and said that if Shamima Begum was to come to Bangladesh, she would be put on trial and she would face the death penalty. Now, the conversation of what punishment she should receive and if the death penalty in Britain should even be is a whole different one, and I'm not going to get into that today. But the simple fact is why is it that Bangladesh are being more sensible about this? They're simply going, yeah, we'll put her on trial. Damn right, she's a terrorist. I don't understand why the British government won't. It's so simple. And, like I've said already, it would save us £24 million. But obviously, Shamimi, she doesn't have Bangladeshi citizenship, so of course she'll never end up going there. So in a way, it's kind of a worthless comment by their foreign minister. But still, at least Bangladesh are based and being on the right page of history on this one.
But anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you today regarding this whole situation. And if you want to help out the old war kettle, there are a number of ways you can do it. You can join me on Patreon or Subsribestar, or you can send me a one-time donation via PayPal or Bitcoin. But better yet, why don't you head on over to Teespring.com and get yourself some awesome war kettle merch. Anyway, guys, until next time, peace.
Hi.